Welcome everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to question and answer session number 4. Obviously we've got 3 previous sessions of this. I'm going to leave the link in the description below to those videos for anyone who wants to check out the earlier ones. There are 31 questions we're going to run through that you guys submitted, so there's quite a bit. We're going to try and barrel through that. I've got 25 music related questions, 3 that are more related to the channel itself, and 3 that are more personal related. So I've broken them up as such, and we'll run through that. And just to catch up people that might be new to the channel and or have not seen one of these before, I am an architect by day, hence the shirt, but of course music lover 24/7. I've been collecting music, CDs, cassettes, records, etc. for 32 years, since 1989, and I've got over 9,000 CDs, so quite the collector in and of that. Having just hit 5,000 subscribers, I'm doing this as a thank you, and of course once again thank you to all my long-term subscribers, and of course all you new guys out there joining us. I welcome you. But before we go any further, if you are new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also, for everyone, leave a comment, hit like. All those things do help support my channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as I always say, a little tongue-in-cheek, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this with question and answer session number 4. So, as always, I will do my best to pronounce your names, but if I get it wrong, I apologize in advance. Now, we're going to kick off with music-related questions first, and Andreas from Greece asks, what are your favorite cover songs or albums with cover songs? And first of all, I have done an entire video countdown of the top 10 best cover song albums from 2020. I'll leave a link in the description below for that. That's where a lot of these are going to come from. But I tend to like cover songs that I don't recognize. So ones that are turning me on to new music are the best. I definitely like to discover new music that way. But I also really like when they do a cover song that is well known, but they do it in a very unique, rearranged type style. For popular cover songs, though, there's some great artists that do them. In particular, Chris Cornell's latest No One Sings Like You Anymore, Volume 1 is an excellent one. Billy Joe Armstrong, No Fun Mondays, really great album that he did through COVID, then collected and released all of those. We got former Keel frontman Ron Keel band, South by South Dakota, doing a lot of southern rock stuff that's really great. And my latest favorite is from BPMD, which is a band made up of guys from Overkill, Dream Theater, Machine Head, and they run through some really great stuff. And it's borders on, hard rock, metal, thrash style covers of some great classic 70s rock stuff. All right, another question that also comes from Andreas from Greece is, what are your favorite band lineups that survived just one album that you would like to see do more? And probably talked about this before, but I'm going to hit on it again here. The Motley Crue lineup with John Corabi that did the one album here, the self-titled 1994, I think is absolutely excellent, par none. Very different than Dr. Feelgood and the other stuff, but I would love to have heard more with John Corabi fronting the band. Another one like that is Poison, Native Tongue from 1993, which features Richie Kotzen on guitar. You guys probably now know of Richie Kotzen, but he was pretty unknown at that time. Of course, now he's been with Mr. Big, the Winery Dogs, and a whole host of other things, along with a very, very long, extensive solo career, and then currently doing the Smith-Kotzen project with Adrian Smith of Iron Maiden. So now a very well-known name. The time he was not, made the one album with them, changed their sound to a more soulful blues style, and I think it was an excellent fit for the band. It was definitely a much more mature style for the 90s and worked out. Next question, Graham Allen and John Devon 64 asks, what are your all-time favorite album artwork, or what is your all-time favorite album artwork? I don't really have a specific piece of art, but I've put the stuff around me here. I definitely like the artist Roger Dean and Storm Thurgeson. So Storm is here on my left. He does a lot of the Pink Floyd stuff, and Roger Dean does a lot of the Yes stuff. So very cool. One of the things I was going to point out, I do really like this album, Keys to Ascension from Yes. It was a live album with a couple studio covers on it. I've got a bigger picture of the art here that's a poster from it. So I'll show you guys that. Just these sort of ethereal scenes that he does. Not that you'd be able to see it in here, but I do have, there you go. I do have that album artwork on my arm here tattooed. So a big enough fan of Roger Dean to get his artwork tattooed on my arm. One of my sort of lifelong dreams would be actually to own an original piece of artwork from Roger Dean, one of his paintings or something. So maybe one day I'll get lucky enough. John Devon 64 also asks, what is the oldest item in your collection? I would say it's probably the Beatles records that I own, their mono edition of it. They come from my mom, actually, so it's not something that I purchased, but I do have it in my collection. Otherwise, you know, I'm a huge collector of the CDs, and some of the early CDs that came out from around 85 or so, those would probably be the oldest pieces as such. But then of course I got lots of other records and stuff that go back into the 70s and whatnot, but not anything really earlier than the mid 60s kind of stuff. And also asked another question, he was asking quite a bit here, what is the best packaged item? Which I thought was a good question. Hadn't had that one before, so I wanted to show that. And I've done some unboxings of these, so you guys have seen them potentially. This one here I think is one of the best one, AC/DC Backtracks. It is a working amplifier. You can literally plug into it, the knobs work, turn it up and down, etc., the tone. And of course the top comes off to expose all the stuff inside, but it's a working amplifier. So I thought that was pretty cool packaging for that one. It's one of the most unique ones. Another one that I really liked was this one here, the Innocence and Experience live in Paris. And this one here has a light bulb, which is this thing here in it. A little hard to see because it's tucked down here at the bottom, but it's got a lot of great stuff in it. So that's pretty cool. And then another one that I always have really liked, and I know I've mentioned in some different ways, is this Bruce Springsteen one, where they do a replica of his spiral bound notebook that he kept notes in, lyrics and things of that nature. So replicating stuff and things that are from the band or a live performance, like that light bulb, which was swinging at the U2 concerts and stuff on stage. So those cool things like that I really, really enjoy. Next question comes from Darlene Goodwin. Who were your musical heroes growing up? In particular, Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue, the bassist. I had a huge poster of him on my wall. At that time, he had one full sleeve of tattoos, not the second arm. I thought that was so cool. My mom was really worried that it was going to lead to me to getting tattoos, and unfortunately it did. So, what are you going to do? But I idolized him at the time. Maybe not so much now, kind of a thing. It's interesting who your heroes were as a kid and how it's changed. Like, another one that I really idolized was Gene Simmons of Kiss. And I would say, both, those were my favorite band members at the time. Interesting, they were both bass players. I did want to be a bassist first before switching to guitar. But my interest and as far as personalities of these things go have changed since then, kind of a thing. But there you go. Those were the people I idolized at the time and really looked up to and liked what they did musically. Hartmut Peter asked, do you like Blackmore's Night with Candice Night? And I guess the general answer to that would be yes, I do. I did own their second album back in the 90s, but I really wish Reissue would return to rock. I know he's done some live shows as Rainbow, but that style, that sort of new age style, folk music that he does just really isn't for me. It's okay, it's good, I enjoyed it for one album, but the fact that he's done it now for a 20-year career, more power to him, but it's just not for me. All right, Mark Hughes and John Baca, and I apologize if I'm getting that wrong. What is the most you've spent on a single album? So the thing that I probably spent the most on in terms of what it is, I would say, is this cassette. I spent $50 on it. A group called Secret Service. They were a local band in the Tampa Bay, Florida area, and a band that I grew up with. Definitely, I really enjoyed them and whatnot. Couldn't find it anywhere. It was really hard to track down, and when I did, it was also, I believe it was still sealed in plastic, but I can't remember now. In the end, I decided it was worth it to me to have it, and I spent the money on it, even though that's sort of an exorbitant amount in my opinion. I have spent a bit more on some other CDs, maybe upwards of about $75, $80 kind of a thing. And then I've got a Pink Floyd box set, the early years, which I spent $500 on. So, but that's a multi 26 CD plus DVD, etc. Huge box set. Worth it in my opinion for the $500. whereas just an individual item, this cassette, and because it's a cassette, not a CD even, sort of question the price on it, but it is what it is. And then, another question from, I'm not sure if this was Mark Hughes or John Baca or both. I've got their name listed on it. What is the biggest bargain CD you've ever bought? And so I find I find lots of CDs all the time for $1, but I found the group Brides of Destruction, which was Nikki Sixx and Tracy Guns, LA Guns, coming together, forming a new group. There were demos that they were shopping around to labels, and it had come into my local record store, and I found it, stashed away for 99 cents. Nobody knew what it was, kind of a thing. So for me, that was a huge, huge find and bargain. I don't know if it's worth anything now, kind of a thing, but for me, it's worth a lot. So big bargain there. And John Baca also asked, what indie glam metal album would you consider the best yet unknown? So I've got this one here, LeComte. Quarry Records came out in 1992. Mike LeComte is the vocalist. He comes from a band called Tangier. Another member of the band is Billy Childs on bass from Britny Fox. Rick Crenity on guitar from Black Eyed Susan, which is the offshoot Britny Fox project featuring Dizzy Dean Davidson, the vocalist. And then Richie DiCarlo on drums. Not sure if he comes from anywhere, but he probably did. So this one has always been a really cool thing, big thing in my collection. Very, very much enjoyed it and have it. Pretty hard to track down at this point, I think. And CD Man 40 asks, do you get albums released digitally that only come out digitally? And absolutely, I have an Apple streaming account, so I do download stuff that way. I do hunt some things out that are only digitally, download MP3s, upload them, to my phone and stuff so that I can listen to it. But yeah, absolutely, stuff that only comes out digitally, I still want to listen to. I just prefer it on CD if I can get it that way. Josh Esparza asks, who was an artist that left you starstruck? And I don't know if any have necessarily left me starstruck per se, but any of the bands from my childhood, when I meet, I'm sort of like a giddy schoolboy, and I have to, tone that down a bit when I meet them. So bands like Winger, LA Guns, Great White, when I met these guys, when these were all original members still and I was meeting them, just absolute highlight experiences to meet those guys. And all of those bands, the guys were really, really nice. So it just put it over the top. I've also met bands like Rat back in the day, and they were not a very nice band at that time. Just standoffish and sort of rude, mean. That's a whole separate story. I think I went into that in one of the previous Q&As, but these guys, Winger, LA Guns, Great White, all excellent. So I walked away from that just really, really happy, feeling good from it, and in awe of some of my musical heroes. Packer Fan 12, what do you think of the new Steve Whitman album, You're Welcome? And so I actually just got it yesterday. I only listened to it last night. I mentioned to him that it hadn't arrived in the mail. I was saving it. I had downloaded it digitally, but I saved listening to it until I got the CD edition of this. And definitely a lot of elements of Kicks on this, and it's very fun and lighthearted. It doesn't take itself too seriously, kind of thing. It's a good album. I recommend it. It's only available from the Kicks website, so go there to get it. I have not seen it yet appear on Amazon. That's the way with a lot of recent released Kicks items, and they go out of print really quickly. So if you're on the fence about this or think you want it, it is available to stream. Go check it out, but go pick it up before it's gone. They usually only last about 6 months, give or take. Chives Archives asks, what is your view on early new wave, particularly Nick Lowe? I've never been able to really get into Nick Lowe. I've tried bunches of his stuff, so I can't speak specifically to that, but I do like early new wave, specifically bands like the Talking Heads. I'm a huge David Byrne fan. The Cars, Blondie, The Cure, and even Devo, early hardcore, punk stuff before they really got into the new wave sounding stuff. So they go way, way back too. Larry Dallas asks, what concert are you hoping to see after more than a year of no live shows? For me, live concerts are centered around new material, so I'm really enjoying the latest album by Styx. I'd love to go see them live and hear some of that. The latest AC/DC that came out last year is phenomenal. I hope they announce a tour. And just in general, I would love to go see Winger. Every time I see them, that is a great experience. Mentioning how great the guys are when I've met them. I've met them, I think, 3 times, usually after these shows and stuff. So I would definitely go see those guys. And they're also working on an album, so hopefully they'll put that out in tour. Richard S. asks, do you have any upcoming concerts? Ringo Starr and Roger Waters, but they're not scheduled to happen until 2022. So I'll have to wait a little while longer than that. And otherwise, I don't actually have any tickets to shows currently. Nothing that's coming to New York City right now am I interested in, so I'm kind of waiting. I'm okay with that. I kind of, a little hesitant on all of this, jumping right back into things. But certainly at some point, I want to get back out and start seeing some shows. What 3 CDs would you take to a desert island? And I've been asked this before, but I came up with, came out a little differently this time, so I thought I'll leave it in. So the first 2 answers on this are the same as ones that I had answered previously. Pink Floyd, Division Bell, and GNR, Appetite for Destruction. But without even thinking, I wrote down AC/DC, Fly on the Wall, which you guys know is my favorite AC/DC album. But previously, I was asked my top 5, and I didn't put that in it, so I kind of thought that was interesting. Figured I'd just throw that one out there. Greatest Music Fan asks, what is your favorite album by the band Green Day? It probably goes back, it'd be Dookie, and I think a lot of people would say that, but that's the first album that I was exposed to by them back when it came out in 1994, and it's just always been the standout album to me. Favorite album was Cinderella, Long Cold Winter, but I actually probably listen to Still Climbing more because it's lesser known material, and favorite album by Iron Maiden is Fear in the Dark. Miracle Carney, and again, apologize if I'm saying that wrong, asks, who are your top 10 favorite guitarists? So this is going to be a whirlwind here, and I threw this together just last night. I'm probably going to turn this into a full episode because I found it to be pretty interesting what I came up with here. Starting at number 10, George Lynch, Reb Beach, Neil Young, Neil Schon, Steve Vai, Steve Morris from Deep Purple, Slash, Brian May, Eddie Van Halen, David Gilmour in at number 1. You guys know my favorite band is Pink Floyd. Favorite guitarist, musician is David Gilmour. All right, and she also asks, what is your favorite Dire Straits album and track? Again, probably expected here, but Brothers in Arms, Money for Nothing. I grew up on that album. It's got great memories to me. There is other stuff I like. I really love the songs Romeo and Juliet and Sultans of Swing. So I could go any way on those albums, but if I have to narrow it down to one, just the upbeat pop 80s sound of Brothers in Arms is always something that I love. Todd Boyle asks, do you have any recommendations for newer retro-sounding bands with a Deep Purple or Led Zeppelin influence? Certainly Dirty Honey, if you're not familiar with them, they just put out their first album. Blackstone Cherry, they've been out a while, but they're really great. Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown, not so much in the Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin vein, but great straight ahead rock. And a newer one that was supposed to be opening, and I don't know if they are, for the stadium tour with Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, was Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts. Really good stuff. Go to his website, check it out. I really, really like what he's doing. Sean Morrison Rocks asks, how do you feel about Foreigner touring or performing without Mick Jones? And I really don't like that. I don't like bands performing without any original members, at least if original ones are alive. I know we got this going on regarding Quiet Riot. That's a little bit of a different story because of the way the members have come into it and the fact that the drummer left the name to the band. But Foreigner's a different one here, and Mick Jones is so integral. It'd sort of be like Van Halen touring without Eddie Van Halen. So Foreigner to tour without Mick Jones, who is the architect of that sound, style, band, everything, I'm not so happy with. Jared Litherland and Brian Reynolds and David Edward Bella all ask similar questions here, and I've kind of grouped some of these when they're very similar. What album are you looking for but haven't found? I have answered this before, and basically what I would say is all the albums I'm looking for I have found. So I don't have any that are out that I'm currently hunting for and can't find. I basically go into a mode of search until found and then get in some manner. And it can take a little while, but currently nothing on my list. And I wish I did, because I would love to be hunting for something to this point. That's always the fun part. Another question though is, what are your top 3 Holy Grail albums that you want to add to your collection? And so since these aren't albums that are released, these are things that are unreleased. Those would be my Holy Grail. I've mentioned this stuff before, but I'll say it again here. There's unreleased albums by Cinderella and the Damn Yankees from 1999 that I would like. There's an unreleased second album from The Scream. This is without John Corabi. When he left to join Motley Crue, the band did make one more album, but it was shelved. And the official release of the XYZ demos. This is a project with Yes featuring Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin. So that would be pretty cool if those would get officially released. Brian Reynolds asks, what albums are long overdue for a reissue or deluxe treatment? And so Skid Row's first two albums for sure, I'd love to see those get reissued. That's a whole label issue. Cinderella's entire catalog needs reissuing properly, not just this box set that's come out, and I question whether that stuff is really remastered or not, but a deluxe treatment would be great. All of the Bob Seger catalog has never been remastered and reissued. The Van Halen debut and 1984 both need deluxe treatment. Those albums have each sold over 10 million copies. They warrant these sort of deluxe editions. And the whole Van Halen Sammy Hagar catalog has never been remastered. So that would be my preference. All right, those were the music ones, and then I've got some ones that are more geared towards channel related. There's three of these. Andy H., better known as Snakebite Sounds, would you consider doing a prog rock related show on a regular basis? And certainly I would. And I want to put that out as a question to all of you. Please weigh in if you would like to see that show. If this is something, some form of that, I do top guitarists, top vocalists, best albums, that sort of stuff from prog rock bands, and you'd be interested in that, let me know and I can certainly consider doing that. Obviously time is short. I've got these other series, so we'd have to see where that could fit in. William Z asks if I'd be willing to do a video on best music magazines. And again, I would be, except that I don't really buy magazines anymore because the internet brings you that news so much quicker. By the time the magazine is out, it's a month or two old already at that point. But I do have favorite old school magazines, Rip Magazine, Metal Edge, stuff like that. And I've got some of those classic ones around here. I might put an episode together of that sort of stuff. Wait and see. David Q asks, once concert attendance returns, are you prepared for the likelihood that you might be recognized based on your YouTube success? And I thought that was a really great question because I certainly had not thought of that yet. I don't know with 5,000 subscribers whether or not that's enough yet to start getting recognized. I think it'd be pretty cool, honestly, if somebody came up to me. Also, just in the fact, I'd like to meet you guys. So, hey, you know, if you do see me walking around New York City or on the subway, feel free to come up and say hi to me. I'd certainly be interested in meeting you and getting to put a face with some of the comments and things like that. So if it happens, that'll be kind of cool, you know? All right, and then personally, there's three questions here. David Edward Bella asks, do you prefer to shop in stores or online? Most definitely in person, in stores. I like that. I miss the old school record store and perusing through all of the bins and that sort of stuff. And there's just not enough of that around. Definitely take that any day over online shopping. And Miracle Carney, again, I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. What is your favorite record store you love going to? And so I've got two of them here in New York City. Academy Records, which is down on 18th Street in Manhattan, and then Generation Records in the East Village, or West, I think it's the West Village. I apologize if I get that wrong. Down in the Village, we'll just say that, in Manhattan. Frank Devlin asks, what are your plans for your 9,000 plus CD collection? I don't really know. I mean, somebody else asked me what will happen to them when I die, and I said I want to be buried with them. I would like to, which is the next line of this question, he asked if I would like to have them on display, like in a library, you know, in my house or something, and certainly. If I get a house, and I'm certainly moving in that direction, I would love to build an area like literally like a library, wall to wall, where I could display all 9,000 of these and have them out. And that would be the best thing ever. And that way I don't have to, you can see them out of the corner there, the boxes, you know, 48 plus boxes or more of these things that I stacked them all in right now because I live in a small New York City apartment. But, you know, that is what it is. All right, and there you go. That's question and answer session number 4. Answered more than 30 of your personal questions that you guys sent in. I hope you enjoyed that and had fun. I certainly enjoyed answering that for all of you guys. And once again, thank you so much for being a part of my channel. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for continuing to follow and enjoy the content. All right, everyone, have a great day. Take care, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye, guys.